I tapped the mic. I said, excuse me. I said, what? I said, can you repeat that for me? What did you just say? He said, do the remainder. He get closer to the mic. Do the remainder of the balance. I said, man, that's crazy. I said, what's up? So I get up, you know what I'm saying? I grab my little paperwork, the little programs or whatever I done did. You know what I'm saying? I grab my paperwork, but at the time, listen, heart broke. Soul, I'm talking about spirit, I'm talking about everything broke in me. Because I'm thinking about all these months I gotta do, the penitentiary I'm in, how everything moving. I'm thinking about everything. How I got moved away from my dad. I'm thinking about stuff on the streets. I'm thinking about stuff listen, my mind is going crazy. This was the longest walk ever back to the unit because I'm trying to process what just happened to me. And guess what it all resulted to? I got angry with the Most High. Because I felt like, man, I did this, I did that. You know what I'm saying? I tried to change this. You know what I'm saying? I quit using these phone. I quit selling dough. I quit doing this. I quit doing that. And then I go up here before these people, these folks hit me, man. I've been going down here to the church. I said, man, that's crazy. Like, I'm not finna, man, that's over with. So when I get back in the unit, you know what I'm saying? I go in there, I make like everything up, but I'm making like everything cool. But you talking about crush? I was crushed. So I go in there. So finally, after about 3 days in the cell, my cellie, we sitting there, he said, man, cellie, he said, what you gonna do? He not knowing, I done already tried to get some weed and everything. Like, I'm finna start trapping. It's finna go down. You know what I'm saying? I done sent word out, I'm finna do this, I'm finna do that. But it didn't work. So after the third day, my cellie was like, man, what you gonna do, cellie? I said, man, I'm gonna write a book. My cellie bust out laughing. He said, do what? He think he's some boy, and paroled up. I said, nah, I'm finna write a book. I said, man, hand me my pen and pad, cause I'm on the top bunk. I said, man, hand me my pen and pad. My cellie raised up, he grabbed a pen, you know what I'm saying, grabbed a pad. He handed it up to me, right? Instantly, I turned on my lamp right there on the top bunk. As soon as I turned the lamp on, I started writing. I wrote my first book, commercial break me please, The Life Sunday to Sunday in less than 4, it probably was, I think it was 14 days, if not it was 13. I wrote my first book and I wrote it in characterized form. This book ain't out yet, I'm finna actually do the audio version on it. I'm gonna have it up by the end of this week. I wrote my first book and this is where really I say where the Most High tricked me at. Because even though I ain't never been to church, I ain't been in no pews, I don't know no scriptures, I don't know none of that stuff. Back in 2010, that's when I got saved. When I was watching TVN, I was watching TDJ. In my cell one day, I'm pacing the floor after I got through watching it. And I remember getting down on my knees, and when I confess, I'm telling you, this ain't no behavior modification. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm not trying to tell you to become a believer. None of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't go by the word Christian. I don't believe in Christianity. I believe in who the original people are in the Bible. I don't believe in calling him Jesus. I call him Yeshua because that is his name. I believe when you change the name and you call him Jesus, I believe that take away the power. If you've been using the word, if you've been using the name Jesus and it's been working for you, it's not because that's his name and it's power in it. It's because the Most High sit low and he look down. It's the Most High sit high and he looking low and he understand that you're using that out of ignorance because you and he's able to honor that. But the minute you walk into truth, you are to start using truth. I don't like to call him Jesus because do your research on it. I'm not asking you to quit saying Jesus. I'm saying do your research on the name just like you do your research about the scripture. Do your research on your history. Do all of that. And people who ask me why do I call him the Most High and not God? Because they'll say, oh, that's a title. To me, it's really pagan. You know what I'm saying? That's something the man started calling him. And when you go to look up Most High, what it means in the original text, that is a name that they call the Most High in the Bible. So look, check this out. So when I get denied and I'm sitting here and I'm writing this book, as I'm writing the book, I got a lot of scriptures in this book. But as I'm getting to the scriptures, I really don't know how to understand and study the word at the time. My cellie did. My cellie got up at a certain time every morning and watched the word. He studied the word. He go to the original language of the word, break it down. Same thing with my uncle and a lot of other brothers. So when I get to the word and I don't understand, I ask my cellie what I'm writing about something going on with the characters. And I'm trying to tie it to the scripture. Because at the time, I'm calling this situation the Most High tricked me. At the time, I'm trying to learn the word myself. But at the same time, I'm pouring it out in my penmanship and trying to get the characters in my Bible and the characters in my book to understand the same thing I'm trying to understand. So I'm asking myself, hey, what's a good scripture that'll fit for what's going on with the characters right here in this situation? Myself will give me a scripture. For instance, if I talk about this man trying to get out of a situation, but he's scared, he don't want his friends to treat him some type of way, he this and that, then it's talking about fear. Myself tell me, I'll go to Timothy 1:7, this and that. The Most High didn't give us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. So when I look up that scripture, boom, I'm writing that scripture down, but at the same time, I'm studying it. I've been watching Marcellus study. I'm asking Marcellus, okay, how I do this? Marcellus tell me, get you a strong concordance. Go look up the word, whether it's in Greek or Hebrew. Look up that number, and then when you go to the back, you can see what the words actually mean. So not only am I reading the scripture, and I'm learning how to, I started learning context of the scripture. So as I'm reading, I'm like, dang, that's kind of powerful right there. So it was me learning the scripture was beautiful. He didn't give us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. Of course, that's inspiration. That's motivation within itself. But then when you start looking up what these words really mean in the original language, I started saying to myself, you know what? I kind of need that right there. And then when I get to another scripture, one of my favorite, when it said, when the man ways please the Most High, he'll make even his enemies be at peace with him. Who got a lot of enemies? Me. Who I need? I need to be at peace with them folks. I'm gonna get out of here sometime soon. So when I read that, I'm like, oh, no. I need that to become life to me. So when I start to reading how it say, don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I'm looking up these words and I said, oh, that word transform means to form new ideas. It actually started teaching me certain things about myself and form new ideas. Why do I need to form new ideas? You got to start questioning yourself, because all of my ways are connected to the world. How to sell dope, how to hustle, how to survive, how to finesse, how to manipulate, how to get over. It's time to change. You got to change that and start forming new ideas. I ain't got to finesse. Matter of fact, let's just be pure and genuine. Let's start being up front. If it don't work out, it don't work out. That way it ain't got to be on my conscience. So I started learning how to change my mindset and how to look at things different and how to go about things different. I started learning about bitterness, how it make you angry, hold on and stuff, what these people did to me, what they said about me, how they done left me hanging, and this and that, and how it make you start, even deep down inside, you got all of this frustration because you holding on to all of this stuff. I started learning about forgiveness. Forgiveness probably was the major one. When they said, if you don't forgive them, then I won't forgive you. So I started learning, forgiveness is about me. Because not only is forgiveness going to save me, I started realizing the forgiveness will set you free. Because if I let it go, then I don't have to carry it no more. It's no longer a burden on me. But then I realized this. I said, man, that's kind of heavy right there. Because we've all done stuff. He said, no one is out without sin. The first one cast the first stone. He said, look, I said, they also got to forgive me. Because if they don't forgive me, then I'm saying he won't forgive them. Because if we all in this family together, that means we all need to have a forgiving spirit. I started seeing things in the scripture that made so much sense to me. I was like, man, this is heavy. But at the same time, I'm still kind of dealing with what I'm seeing going on with the brothers in here. And then I had to come to the conclusion, there's no such thing as a perfect church. You know why? Because everybody who's in the church is flawed. They're trying to get to that place. They're growing. Sanctification is a process, not an event. It just don't boom, happen overnight. But it's a problem when you're dealing with hypocrisy, though. It's a problem when you're dealing with people who don't want to let you see they flaws, and you see they flaws, but they want to be over you and tell you how to do this and tell you how to do that. That's why the Most High said, do it. You can do as they say, not as they do. Because even though you could take the meat and just throw away the bone, they could be giving you great advice, but at the same time, they have pride. They got pride going on, so they don't say what it is that they dealing with, because they don't want you to see that we are all the same. They don't want you to see that. So I started seeing that. And then get what? I'm telling these brothers, I'm like, man, I got a calling on my life to teach their word. I could tell. Me and my celly having a conversation one day. And as I'm explaining something to my celly said, he said, man, He said, you didn't really, he said, you were always done. He said, you been headed. He said, the Most High sent you here. He said, you just needed to be revived. You just needed somebody to put that word in you. And see, when I understood what he was saying as soon as he said it, because you can be saved, be in the kingdom, but not know the scripture and know how to fight in the spiritual realm. Not know when to heed stuff, not know how to use your discernment, not knowing how powerful your prayers are, not knowing, you know what I'm saying, when you carry yourself, you know what I'm saying, with these fruits of the spirit, and how free you are, and how you don't have to be chained to this and chained to that. And he said, you just needed to be revived. I just needed them to start to teach me the word. Once the word got pumped into me, well, the word is alive, and so am I. So look, so one day we go down to the chapel, right? We go down to the chapel, and one of the brothers down there, you know what I'm saying, one of the brothers I looked up to, he was like, man, Joe T, I need to holler at you real quick. So we walk in the little back room. It's really what like a little prayer room, a little intimate setting. So he was like, man, bro, sit down real quick. So I sit down, you know, and he was like, man, I owe you an apology. When he said that, I was like, for what? I was like, what's up? Because this brother ain't never did nothing to me. He ain't never said nothing to me. He was like, man, I owe you an apology. I was like, man, what's up? He was like, man, when you first got here, he was like, I ain't even gonna lie. He said, I felt like it was a lot of nephewsism going on. I said, why? I said, nah. He said, you know, with Toon being your nephew, being your uncle, he said, you know, you moved up pretty fast. You know what I'm saying? That you coming down here to the church, you know what I'm saying? They let you start doing your music. And he was like, I ain't even gonna lie. He was like, your music was kind of too, he said it was almost secular, you know what I'm saying, when I was hearing your music, man. He was like, well, you know, I started having conversation with your uncle, you know what I'm saying, and talking to some people that you cool with and talk to. And he said, they started telling me your story, you know what I'm saying, things you done been through, which I can hear it in the music. And then he said, I realized that I was stuck in this bubble of thinking one way. He said, and this brother come along who clearly that the Most High is using a fresh word. He said that I had a hard time grasping that he done sent somebody else and he'll switch it up and do something new, something fresh. He said, I felt like you was rebellious. And I'm listening to all of this stuff he's saying. And while he's saying it, I'm wondering how many conversations have been had about how I was moving and how the ministry was flowing through me versus how it's always been flowing. How many of these brothers who was really sitting back, man, that was hard, but at the same time, deep down in their heart, they trying to figure out how to get me out of the way, move me to the side, right? I'm wondering the same thing about my selling. So as a lot of things started taking place and things, I started like, man, what is going on? Like really, what's going on? Because I know for a fact. See, when the Most High start working in you and he start waking you up, he start letting you see certain things. He start showing you who you are in him. Everybody not going to agree with it, even if they are in the vein. They might be jealous. They can be competitive. They can get envious. Listen to me. That's why communication is so important when it comes to the scripture. The fruits of the spirit, that humility is so important, because if you get prideful, get what? The Most High can be trying to do something through a brother, and get what? Just because you can't see it that way, you done put the Most High into a box. What you done did is you done stepped in the way of the will of the Most High, and you either try to remove this person or you try to put this person in the box with you, and this person ain't able to grow. So look, so when he tell me that, I was like, man, that's crazy. So I started wondering what was going on, but at the same time, I had published my book. Well, I'm getting ready to publish my book. But at this time, hold on, I'm gonna tell you this part first. Something go on with me and my celly, right? I end up going to tell my uncle. Me and my uncle, we had a love-hate relationship, if you ask me. Because I felt like my uncle, I was the nephew who he didn't really claim to a certain extent. He got another nephew who is my other cousin through his sister. My daddy is my daddy, Uncle Stevie, Uncle Shooty, Auntie Celeste, and then my Uncle Toon, who I'm talking about, my Uncle Chris. My Uncle Celeste and my Auntie Celeste and my uncle, they got a different mama. So the Shooty, Stevie, and my daddy, they didn't have that kind of relationship with them. So he had a relationship with my cousin through the sister he close by. So when I get to this prison, one of the first things that bothered me when it came to my relationship with my uncle was nobody knew me. Even my seller, who was his best friend, he was like, man, we never heard Tune talk about you. And when he said that, I was like, what? He was like, yeah, when he told us his nephew was here, he was like, down at the church, we all was saying, who you talking about, Trey? And he was like, when he said your name, we was all looking like, who is he? So that alone let me know, you know what I'm saying? It was almost like he never considered me to be a nephew. I was a nephew, but I wasn't that to him. So I felt like it was a love relation, a power struggle within himself of really giving me what the most. It was he had to demonstrate humility, because what he was giving me, the seeds that he was planting in me, and the seeds that he was watering in me, were the seeds he wanted to plant and water in the nephew that he's close to. So me and him kind of always bumped head, and I felt like he was always pushing me. He was always doing, and it was almost like he never. He wanted to see me do good, but at the same time, he'd find ways to say it to try to snatch it away from me. Like he wouldn't pat me on the back the way that he would pat somebody else on the back. But my seller would always try to tell me, that's because you his nephew, you know what I'm saying? He got higher standards from you. No. I think deep down inside, regardless of, see, some people don't like, when you teach somebody in the word, you're supposed to teach them to be better than you. And so at the time of my growth, because I got a year and a half, I'm finna get out. Whatever the Most High finna do in me, he finna do it fast, he finna do it quick. So at the time you growing too fast, people who don't understand it because their growth wasn't that fast, they want to find a way to stunt that growth, or they try to say that growth is not coming from the right place. So I think at the time my uncle was seeing me grow and grow and grow, and potentially surpassing his growth, and I think he felt some type of way about it. That's just my personal opinion. But at the same time, it was like he never wanted to give me the credit. I remember we went in the cell one day because I was still moving certain type of ways and doing things because I wasn't all the way where they was at. You can't expect somebody to be where you are in the church when you've been in the church for 10 years, and somebody else who just now learning the word. You can't expect them to just. It's a process, not an event. So he called me in the cell one day, me and him talking. My uncle called me a snake. He called me a snake because I spoke the truth, if you ask me. Like, even when I went and told him the one time that my seller was messing with that woman, he told me I was lying. Told me he wouldn't do that. My seller never told him because my seller was reaping the benefits of the situation at the time. The guy I'm telling you about, he just told my uncle this probably about a year ago. My uncle claimed that he could never see that, he never knew that was going on, and this and that, and this and that. I'll never know the truth, but one thing for sure, two things about the penitentiary. When there's something going on like that, ain't nobody missed it. But when they come to me saying it, he tried to make it like I was trying to do stuff and cross people out and do snakish stuff and do this and do that. And the truth of the matter is, no. I was just asking the brother to stand on what he asking me to stand on and operate and move how he want me to operate. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, make a long story short, after I ended up writing this book, I get into the word, I learn the word, and they finna get ready to close the prison now. They end up moving all the brothers that had helped groom and teach me at the time. I get in the cell with somebody else like, man, listen, it was crazy. And then they shipping people. When they come to me and tell me I'm getting shipped, they tell me, because I'm praying and I'm saying I'll go to any prison in the state but Northwest. Northwest is the worst prison in the state. My name at the top of the list. I'm going to Northwest. I got like a year left. You know what I'm saying? I go to this prison. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, I'm just knowing I'm finna relapse. Let me tell you something about the Most High. The Most High got ways of letting you know that you ready to handle what you think you can't handle. He'll put you, once he done groomed and taught you, you know what I'm saying? It's just like a parent raising up a child. I've taught you, I've showed you. Now I gotta let you go and practice those things that I've taught you and showed you. I gotta let you off the leash so you can see that you can handle it. Even if you fall and bump your head, there's things that I've taught you and sold into you that eventually you will come back into yourself and you will get back up and you will keep it pushing. So I get to this penitentiary and get what? I'm straight. I published the book while I'm sitting in my cell. I started selling books while I was sitting in my cell. I ended up writing another book, which this is my third one. I don't have a copy of the second one. I'll get it though. I ended up writing three. I ended up writing two more. Published them I published my first two while I was sitting in the cell. I had people at the prison reading the book. I come down there and I still was doing some form of ministry. I went down there and got me a cell phone, I ain't gonna lie to you. But look, check this out. I stood on what them brothers had sold into me and what them brothers had taught me. So then it's time to get out. When I'm getting ready to get out, I was so grateful and thankful that he sent me to a jungle before I got released into the free world jungle, because I was able to sustain and handle myself at the prison I didn't want to go to. I said, oh, I can do that on the street. So boom, when I get out, boom, I just do the exact same thing. I don't want to. I don't know if I can handle it, but at the same time, I'm gonna have to handle it because he done showed me I can handle it. So I get out on the streets and boom, here we are. 2.5 years ago, when I first come home, you know what I'm saying, I'm traveling, I'm doing ministry, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm speaking, you know what I'm saying. I ended up writing The Life of Boo Baker. After The Life of Boo Baker, I ended up writing At War With Myself, which is a total of 5 books. Listen to me real quick as I speak to you. Never in my life would I have expected that doing what I'm doing now, speaking through this camera, you know what I'm saying, doing any form of ministry, talking about my life, being vulnerable to the extent that I be vulnerable, you know what I'm saying, being fun and talking about the thing. I never would have imagined that this was what I would be doing. I actually thought I was going to spend the rest of my life in prison, but clearly the Most High had a different plan for me. I wasn't able to see that at the time. Honestly, it actually made me angry with the Most High at the time because I could not see or understand what was going on. It's like a puzzle that you take out of a box and the only thing you see is the pieces. But he is patiently putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And over the years, it seemed like it's taken so long to put these pieces together. But as he's putting the pieces together, I'm learning and I'm seeing I'm seeing pictures of the puzzle come into play. I was getting molested. Who wants to be molested? That was a part of it because there's people who got molested and this and that and this. But then when you say that, you still say, well, why would he allow it? Listen to me. You have to go talk to the Most High, because when I look back at mine, I say, you know, I'm grateful for it. It could have been worse. And then when I go back and I say, all the stuff that I did, all these people I done shot and did this and that, he said, man, there were going to be some young dudes who were going to go through the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And I had the boom, boom, boom. Now I said, man, you know what? But now I went to prison. I'm in the cell with my dad. I'm in the cell with my brother. Beat my brother up. Boom, 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 boom. Then I look up, and even though I don't care nothing about the numbers, but I pay attention to the comment section. I pay attention to the following. I pay attention to everything, and I say, it wasn't in vain. I said it wasn't in vain. He still used it. Still using it. I fall down, I get back up, he still used me. I said, of all people, me. All the things I done did, listen to me, the things that I got away with, forget being successful. I'm free, I'm healthy, I'm provided for, I'm sheltered, man, listen to me. I'm allowed to touch people all around the world. And people try to tell me, oh man, that Bible this and that Bible that. Where would I be right now had I not? That's the question. Had I not said, had I not started understanding certain things in the Bible and saying, I need that for myself, and actually watched it manifest. When he said, your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men. I'm telling stories from my kitchen. I got 4 books, about 5. I've watched the word manifest in my life. When you talk about, I've shook the hands of people that I've robbed. I've had people that I've shot at call my phone to tell me that they're proud of me. I've had people I've done stuff to who have bought books for me and supported me. I had one girl, I went in their house and robbed them a couple of days before Christmas. They said I left a note on it and they called me the Grinch. She bought my book, she messaged me, and she told me she was proud of me. He said when your ways please him, he said it'll make peace even with your enemies. When you talk about the fruits of the spirit, the love, the joy, the peace, the kindness, the gentleness, the self-control. Listen to me, I slept with almost 100 women by the time I was 18 years old. I've been home 5 years. That number ain't even probably 2% of that. Well, people look at that and say, well, you've been sleeping with people before marriage. No, let's talk about the growth. Let's talk about the growth, not the fall. That's the fruits of the Spirit working. That's removing the power and the growth of it. And people, well, he done jumped in the game and he started hustling. When I jumped in the game and started hustling back then, not only did I hustle, I said I was a robber. I said, but we ain't did that since I've been home. That's a manifestation of the Spirit. That's that self-control. That's all of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm better with my money. When you go look at the scripture, when he talk about he gave the talent, he gave 1 5, 1 2, and 1 1. When he talk about multiplying it, listen to me. And everything that I see that he done given me, I've learned how to use it. I watched the scripture manifest into my life. I didn't get to see my daughter for the whole 10 years I was there. Me and my daughter have a great relationship. Me and her mama do too. That was one of the things that I used to pray about. I've watched it manifest in my life. Everything that I've ever, I remember telling my cousin when I came home and I'm finna get ready to get out. I remember telling my cousin when I came home, I said, "Cuz, we was at Waffle House. There was a girl in there who was cooking. She had a cut on the wrist. I showed her the cut on my wrist. I said, I can relate." And she started crying. Then she started talking to me when she walked out. My cousin said, "How you do that, cuz?" I said, "Prayer." I said, "I'm gonna tell you something though." I said, "My relationship's so tight with the Most High." I said, "Sometimes I'm scared to pray." He said, "What?" I said, "Because I feel like I can answer for anything and get it." And that's true. The clothes, the books, the move, my relationship, friends, family, finances, you name it. It's nothing that I have not prayed for and didn't get every single time. And if I didn't get it, I most definitely understood it was not for me. It was not for me. So my transformation it was hard, it was tough, but it was worth it. It press on you when you removing things and trying to understand new things. It press on you heavy, but it was worth it over time. Okay, so boom.